Hello.
Hi,
Sinead.
Sinead. How are you?
We're
So
good.
today I have the pleasure to chat to Mags and Catherine from Monday Year's Creche in Athlone, and we're going to talk all about early learning and childcare. And they are the manager and owner of a private setting in Athlone. Am I right?
That's right. That's correct.
Okay. And how many children are you responsible for there altogether?
How many have I in the books now? Is it 69, 70,
Yes.
I think?
Yeah, around 70.
And you provide all the schemes, NCS, CCSP, Tech, the whole shebang.
Yes. Yeah.
Whole shebang. Okay, that's excellent. And how long are you there? I remember, Mags, I was lucky I got up to visit your service pre-COVID, and you were showing me where you started off out the back of the house, the fabulous service you have now.
Yeah.
Back. So how long have you been providing childcare?
21 years now. Yeah. We started like that out, as we said, out in the back, because I think that was when my fifth one came along, wasn't it? It was Ida. And had
about 16 kids.
Yeah, out there. And it grew and grew and grew, and we were adding on bits and whatever,
Yeah.
And
they were all family kids too, nearly, and cousins and that type of thing.
Yeah.
It just grew from that, neighbours.
Yeah.
Great
how, like, once you get one in the door, you seem to keep them coming all along.
Yeah.
So what has been the biggest challenge in the provision of early learning and childcare, we'd say, that you have seen over them 21 years?
Oh, I suppose now, it really has changed so much over the years, and I suppose the level of bureaucracy and administration, which is involved today now, is huge, it's, and it kind of I suppose, it really is takes up so much time, and that and does, in a sense, like you're trying to then work with the children and do the programs and all. It's very
the paperwork alone is so time consuming, and the kids lose out when you're so tied. Now there is fabulous apps coming on stream. We're linked in with Teach Cloud ourselves, and it's just, they're fabulous because it gives us a little bit more time, in the sense that you're not trying to catch up all the time with your paperwork. It's easier access to that works. But as far as COVID is concerned, the pod system, came into place, and the reduced number of kids and the movement of staff has been a big thing over the last year. The way you can't move your staff, and it's been very challenging for us to kind of, and even with COVID, if anybody has gone out, staffing it has been just a nightmare. Relief staff.
Very difficult to get. Like if a staff, because in these COVID times, if they have a sniffle or a cold, or they ring in, you have to, they have to go and be tested and whatever. And then you're trying to, get that room covered. Luckily, I'm here, and we have a good relief panel ourselves, but it's still very challenging. It's still. And I know from talking to some services, and you do. Some services have had even to close for some days because of this issue, because they can't get cover.
And do you find that then challenging on trying to support the staff that are there, because they're worried about work, they're worried about their family, they're worried about their children, they're worried about providing care for children. So it's extra additional stress and support that you have to provide.
It really is.
It is, and they're nearly afraid to move anywhere. And even when you go out and break, it's it's just making sure if upstairs are out on break, that they're gone and everything is disinfectant. The downstairs will be doing their break, and it is a worry. And even with the level of different ages we'd have in staff as well, from young to kind of more mature. Not me now. I'm 21.
Yeah. The more mature staff.
Yeah.
Like, because you hear that as well. Like, I mean, no more than yourselves. Like, I mean, you know, when you're in the childcare system or when you're in that environment, it's very hard to think of. You're not only supporting the children, you're supporting their parents, you're supporting their families, and then you're supporting each other. And I suppose with COVID and everything else like that, that opportunity isn't there because you're not in the staff room having the chats, you're not having the training or anything else like that.
Yeah, there's less communication between the staff, and it's sad to see, and they're kind of going out, and they don't have that banter that we'd always have. You know, that makes the day easier.
Yeah, and because I mean, we're lucky, I suppose, in that we have such vast grounds around our service outside. And that's a huge plus, because when they go out, they have loads of different areas to disperse to. But I suppose the negative side of that is, like you say, Catherine, they're kind of away from each other then, and they don't have the same banter, and you need that in a workplace, you know, like. So they're talking over fences in a way, but it's, you know, it's you know.
And come here, do you find that the kids have been more resilient during this time? Have you noticed any little changes in the children, say from pre-COVID times, not to be dwelling on COVID, but do you feel that their interactions, or they're more happy to see their friends now when they come back?
Absolutely. Like the first time the preschool came back, and I was working up in the preschool room for the morning, just happened to be working the morning, and I was doing planning with the kids. And I was kind of taking down the plans and was asking each and every one of them where they wanted to go, and they all mentioned a friend. I want to play with John, I want to play with, nothing about where they wanted to play. They just wanted to play with somebody. That was the first time in 21 years that I heard a group of 2 and 6 months, 7 months to 3 years of age. That they, like, normally you'll have that at 4 and 5 years of age. You'll have the more, because the more parallel play at that age. They're still very young. But that was the first time, and I was writing it down. I was going, oh my God. Everyone mentioned a friend they had missed.
And come here, what do you think are the main benefits of working with children? Probably different now.
I suppose the satisfaction you get from being able to positively influence their development, you know, especially during these young formative years, like, you know, and it's to see them kind of grow and develop, you know, and learn and pick up new skills, and that, you know, it's you know, it's you know, and just have that little interaction with them, and you know, they I mean, kids like are they're so honest and so open, and that, and it's lovely, you know, kind of.
It's to watch their independence. It's to watch them independently grow. Like, I mean, it's the best part of the job. Really, for me, that is the best part of my day, is to see how happy and content, and, you know, see them care when you're caring for them, see them how the stages of development comes on, and how they grow independently and become competent, you know, learners. It's lovely.
And it's even and that's brilliant with them all. But then when you have a child with difficulties, with challenges, and there's great supports that come in to help us with that, you know, aims and all of that. So it's very rewarding. You do see them, you know, improve, and
especially if you have a child that doesn't have much speech, and to hear them say the words, or to, like, even yesterday, the one little boy, I walked into the room and he said, "Hello, Catherine." Like, he, you know, he doesn't normally, but he had found the words over the last couple of weeks. I'm going, oh my God.
And you know what, it's probably there, but it was just bursting to come out. And comfortable to bring it out then, like, so socks off you as well, to go, oh geez, you're talking to me, like,
you're nearly looking around going, wow.
That leads into my next question, because I suppose I used to remember, is like, when you have a baby with you, and next thing they're with you from baby room, toddler room, preschool room, next thing they're gone to school, like, if they're not coming back to you for after school, how do you feel about them moving on? Are you like, yes,
tears have ran down my face? They're like my babies.
Yeah.
I have stood up at the school looking at them in uniforms.
Yeah,
it's amazing. Like, I mean, the satisfaction, and see, you know, you help them grow and develop. You know, and to see them, just see them independently.
And even when you see them then many years later, like we have seen a few of them in their teenage years, and I think, oh my God, we're getting old here. But and they'll come and talk to you.
I remember I had that from when, like, I mean, my first job, we'd say, in the early years, setting, and I went back to Sligo to do the degree. I went back part-time, and I remember I was walking down the hall, I seen this young fellow coming towards me, and I was like going, Jesus, that's not who I think it is. And he was like looking at me, and he's like going, is that you, Sinead, from kindercare? And I went, yeah. And he was like, I was like going, he says, oh yeah, I'm in my first year of engineering now. And I was like,
oh my God, yeah.
And he said, you think they don't remind you or whatever, I was like that, but they do remember you. You know, they say, oh, that's your first teacher in Wonder Years, or that, you know, but you do be sometimes walking around going, oh God,
please,
what
am I doing still?
I know. What's the biggest challenge you're facing now as providers, do you think? Apart from COVID, do you think retaining staff? Do you think is it the funding?
I suppose administration and bureaucracy and having to deal with all the different bodies, like, you know, TUSLA, Pobble, Environmental Health, and I suppose even, you know, the lack of joined up thinking between these bodies and that too. It's huge. It's huge. You know, kind of, you know.
I mean, just the whole paper end of it is just so challenging by times. Do you know?
I mean, even these schemes now, Pobble schemes and all, the amount of bureaucracy and paperwork, and every time someone changes, like, you know, from an hour or two or whatever,
it's very hard to get a parent to understand that, like, now I need you to sign this contract again because you are actually changing what we already had you contracted for. That type of thing. They're kind of looking at you going, what? I just signed that. Do you know?
Maybe you can go through a few contracts with some of them, like, you know.
That's the thing, like, with schemes changing and hours and
hours, and especially these times, because they may have come back and they may have come and reduced hours, and then they may decide, okay, I'm going to be full time again, or I'm going to be this, or I'm going to be that. So it's been very challenging.
You know.
So do you think the word of early learning and care is slowly disappearing, and now it's about constantly making sure that they're getting what they're entitled to, and it's about looking after the parents and making sure that you're meeting your funding agreements.
That's huge, like, you know. And I think, and not just us, I think a lot of services, like, you know, we're all trying to make sure, you know, our I's are dotted and our T's crossed, and that we have, you know, and that's very time consuming, having to keep on top of all of this, you know, paperwork and that, but, you know, but, you know, it is a worry too, because in case you're not, you know, keeping up our end of the contracts and that, then, you know.
Hi, Sinead. I have a nice weekend. I just have to run in. I've lads doing a bit of work in here, looking for hinges and that. So have a lovely weekend, and thanks for all your good work.
No worries at all. Thanks a million. That's our chairperson for Roscommon County Childcare Committee there now that we all see on screen. So thanks a million.
Okay, mind yourself.
Bye. Thanks a million.
Bye.
Bye.
So we were just saying there, that it's kind of like gone away from you know,
the care and the education. It really has.
You know, and I mean, what's the way around that? You know, I don't know, like, you know, me.
Nothing is simple, you know.
It's not like, but I do think that I think it is changing. I do think it is changing, and I think because of all the paperwork and people are making it more it's become more knowledgeable now that look, it's gone. The care of the child isn't at the centre there now anymore. Like we're facing our tails the whole time. Like years ago, you'd be worried about doing observations, and you'd be lucky to get an observation done one every 2 weeks.
Yes.
Like if you're doing them every day, do you know?
Yes.
Oh yeah. You know, it's just
it is crazy.
Yeah. If you could change your perception around early learning and care, you know, about working within the sector, what is the one perception? Well, apart from the one obvious perception of being the glorified babysitters as such, what would that perception be, and how would you think you could encourage people to come back into the childcare sector and to work within it?
For me, I would say it's the government acknowledging us.
Yeah.
You know, really, truly, as educators in the workforce.
Yeah.
You know, it's not, we're undervalued that way. You know, I mean, it's just, you're not acknowledged in the same way as any other sector is. Yeah. You know, that would be a big thing for me.
Yeah. Because I think like, and I suppose, I don't know, does people in general realize the amount of work that goes into all these programs, all these, you know, in the different areas in the rooms, from their small little babies, like what is actually done with these kids and how they learn, and you know, kind of like it's you know, I don't know how you would change that, but it's, you know, if people could, like, that it really is a huge part of what goes on, and it is really the kids an education centre too, you know, for the young kids. Young
and I suppose, like, when you see Easter and Shielta coming in now, and you see that programme Easter being used in junior and stuff. Like all of that formative years is in early learning and care settings, and the amount of work and the amount, you know, you're now inspected under curriculum and play, main thing, like you're providing play anyway. So you know, is it right that you should be inspected on that now on top of everything else? I don't know. Will we ever solve it?
I don't know, Sinead. It's hard to know. Like, I mean,
but I just don't think, Catherine, going back to it again, and I know when I go and I look at the programs and you see the little things that people really realize the amount of work that goes into educating these little, you know, in those formative years. And from all the, you know, like, say, from the baby room up. Like,
like, I mean,
huge learning, massive learning.
And like, you know, I remember there was a time like we had a baby in the baby room and we were waiting for them. Like, the parents were upset, you know, he wasn't walking by the time he was 12, and then he wasn't walking 12 months now, he wasn't walking by the time he was 13 months. And next thing, I remember one day he just took up and was holding on to like the boot box and took off. And we were like going, will we say it or will we not say it? Will we let him go home and let him
do it at home,
experience it? But so we just, look, we reassured them and we say, you know what, he took a few steps, he might take a few more at home now, you know. Or it's like you say, the child with speech and language. Like, he can, you know, mightn't say a few words at home, but like might be the chattiest thing in school. Like, so these, it's I'd love to be able to document all this good stuff that's going on within.
Massive stuff, like when there's any issues, even with kids and that, and you always say it, Catherine, to the girls in the rooms and to parents, like, you know, their ears and
eyes and ears.
Stuff that's picked up
that, where are you going to get your balance, your walk, everything, eyes and ears, just make sure that they're checked, you know. And that to me is vital.
And that's all picked up in the services.
Vital when you see little kids from baby.
You know, 100%. So rounding that up, I think we've covered all areas. What advice would you give to someone who is thinking of pursuing a career in childcare and early learning and care, or even school-age childcare?
The main thing I was thinking is you have to be truly passionate to work in childcare. Truly passionate. You really have to want to work with kids.
Yeah.
Work in the childcare sector.
Yeah.
You can have all the degrees.
Yes,
and all the paperwork in the world.
Yeah.
But you really need to be passionate about children.
Yeah.
In order to work. It's quite challenging, and it's misunderstood. Like care and education it's just misunderstood by so many people. And then, like, I mean, to get people that are passionate is great, but to be able to reward them in a pay scale is vital. It's vital to keep them. To keep the sector running happily and smoothly.
Because it is an evolving and growing sector, like, and I mean, it has changed so much even from when we started, and a lot of it is for the better too, kind of.
100%.
Definitely. But it's I suppose for people coming out of school and that, you'd wonder, they think, I want to go into childcare, like, and they think it's,
mind babies,
and it's an easy, like, job and that, and I don't think they realise it is as challenging, and so much goes on, kind of, in the whole area.
It's funny you say that, because in one of the other interviews that I done with one of the girls, she said the exact same thing. You may have qualifications and degrees coming out of your head, but if you haven't the passion, or you haven't the experience, or the understanding of working with children, it's no point in you going down that road. But we were saying, like, that you may think you're a baby person, but when you're 8 to 10 hours in that baby room, and you've 3 of them around your feet, and they want all your attention, and you think, it's fine. But I tell you, if you're not a baby person, you're not going to stick that out, and you're going to take the high road. Whereas if you're in the preschool and you're really organising into curriculum and into all of that, you'd have no problem there. So it is very much about the age group as well.
Absolutely.
And I really do think too, Catherine, like you're saying, you have to have a passion. It really is a profession, like nursing,
100%.
teaching, like, medicine, like whatever, like, it's not child minding. Like, of course you're minding them and looking after them, and but it's
but
you know what I mean, like, it really is, like, kind of,
well, it's a bit of a vocation
and a vocation. Absolutely. It's total vocation.
And just when you're saying that, the funny thing is now, like, it's the noise. When you've been in the room or whatever else, and you walk out of that room, and your ears are like, you're going whatever, and you're like going, geez, it's very quiet, like, the noise levels and
it's unbelievable, especially when they're engaged and in play. It's unbelievable, the noise levels. It's but as I said to you, like, I mean, that passion has to be there from day one. I have had girls come in and work experience, and I have had them tell me straight up, okay, I'm not going into childcare. Do this is what I thought I wanted to do. No. Just because they didn't realise the amount that they could do in this.
So, leading on to that, you have one meeting with Roderick O'Gorman, Minister for Children, and he can grant you one request. What would your one request be?
You have it there, Mother.
Well, I suppose what I'm looking at, and that is like, the funding model within the sector requires a major restructuring, and there is an opportunity to radically change how we fund it. Like, I mean, you can see the impact of the pandemic over the past year showed what can be achieved. And some very good work was done with the supports that were put in place to assist the sector, during these times. And I can tell you, we wouldn't have been able to stay going without, the assistance and the government support. And I'm sure lots of other sectors. like very challenging times, you know. And I suppose like a comprehensive funding model encompassing both private and community childcare sector would help, you know, greatly. The sustainability like is a big problem. You have very stringent regulation regime with, you know, very restrictive staffing ratios, and we're trying to stay open and keep pods open. And, you know, now it's even more challenging because you can't, you know, move one from one pod to another. And, you know, like, and I don't know when we'll come out of this pandemic or what's going to happen at the end of it. Like, but I do think that, you know, kind of, it's something that really does need to be looked at, you know. I mean, staffing and operational costs, and I'm sure others would agree with me on this. It's like they eat up 70 to 80% of what comes in, and you're constantly having to, like when we were closed, and in the time we were closed down the first break we had, will we call it a break, lockdown, like we were up there, you know, in the creche, we completely painted the whole thing through, put down new floor cover, and did massive work in it, you know. And myself and Sean and I had Catherine and my sisters help me because you can't, we were all our own pod, like we could, like, you know, like that's massive expenditure, and you have to do, you know, these things as well, like, and you know, it's I think, you know, just sustainability is the big #1 issue for us, like, you know, to try and keep going and keep, you know, keep it staffed to the level, to the regulatory level. And each year they're bringing out, you know, it's even getting tougher and tougher.
I know, yeah.
You know.
We could do a solid break now for 3 years at least.
Yeah.
Registration, regulations, new funding screens. Parents, compliance, regulations, inspections. You
know, and now they're looking at the after school, you know, and it's gas, like I think the horse is bolted now in a way for that area, because like parents now are all, you know, like our after school has really dropped.
Yeah, it has. It's because parents now realize, and a lot of them are working from home still, that these after school kids can be brought home and they can get on with their bits of homework whilst they do their work. They're not the ones that are the problem to them. So they have figured that out and said, okay, we can save here now. I mean, you know,
and here the government is looking to regulate it all now. It's a little bit
like
late.
Especially even around holidays like Easter. There was zero attendance from after school. Zero attendance.
6 in one day. We were 76, like, you know, over Easter.
You know, and it's very hard, and staff there.
How do you sustain that or keep that, you know, going? You know.
And then again, like, I mean, of course, from the girls' point of view, I would say the pay scale would be a big thing that they would ask the government. The pay scale is a big thing for them, and even the support and money towards doing their degrees if they're passionate about going on, you know. From their point of view.
And we as employers would welcome that too.
Absolutely. Like, it's just, I suppose they always felt undervalued, you know, and an awful lot ran out of the sector because of that. You know,
that's 100% it. That's it. It's just that. And then it's funny because when I was just having the chat with other services as well, you know, all this talk around COVID and everything else and frontline workers, but more of the childcare providers, childcare employees, they were all frontline workers, are still.
And not one job has any of us got.
Not one job, no, like you hear all about teachers and doctors and nurses and the shops, but very little did you hear on, you put the 6 o'clock news on, you go, and childcare providers have been opened up, and you know, they're taking children in and they're supporting the country, keeping going. But yet no recognition is such. The minister did send out the letter of thanks and whatever else like that. But I do think it's a total revamp. Just a bit of recognition of professionalism. That's all.
Absolutely. And I mean, when you think of it, like not one, and like parents couldn't go back to work without the childcare sector. Just above all sectors, you know, they need the childcare sector to mind their kids, even those who are working from home.
Even above all sectors, from the day that we opened the doors back in June, those kids have been all around our legs.
Yeah.
They have been crawling up. Yeah. They can't help it. Not from a very young age. They just can't help it.
Yeah. And you can't, if a child is crying, how do you not?
No,
you can't. You walk, how?
You can't do it.
You can't.
Not if you're passionate about childcare.
Not if you're passionate about childcare. But you just can't. You just couldn't do that, no matter how hard or what way you're programmed. So you are essentially, frontline workers. You're the same as our nurses, I think, in the hospitals.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I really do think that.
Yeah. So, so where we go from here, Sinead?
Where do we go from here?
Yeah.
I don't know, but hopefully now everybody, I'm just really thankful for you for joining me for the chat today, and I think we are getting our message out there. I think we are sharing our experiences, and I think as well the sector has found its voice.
Yeah.
I think we're not willing to stand back or sit down and go, no, it's not okay to treat us like that, and it's not okay for us to be not paid a living wage. We've got degrees, we've got qualifications, we're the same as anyone else out there. So I do think, I have my fingers crossed. If I had a meeting with Roger O'Gorman, I know what I'd be saying to him, but then I could be sacked. So that's something I have to think about. But I know it is. I think the last year has proven how important the sector is, and I really, really hope and have my fingers crossed that.
Yeah, and it is sad to think that something like this has to prove how valued, that you need something like this for people to realise, oh God, we really do need childcare.
Yeah.
We really do need our kids minded so we can work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, ladies, it's 20 past.